Franklin Township. It is Wednesday, October 24th, and I will call this meeting to order. We will start with a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Agnes is not here. Ed Ward is not here. I'm here. Mayor Kramer is not here yet. He probably will be. NBC?
Yes.
Tom Lennon? No. Iris Kislin? Yes. John Clyde?
Yes.
Yes. And I will note that also January Adams is here and Robert Vornlocker. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, also called the Sunshine Law. The schedule and notification of this meeting have been provided to the Courier News, the Home News Tribune, and the Franklin Township Clerk. Copies have been posted in the library's vestibule and also available at the reference desk. I would like at this time to break with the normal flow of the meeting and ask our guest, our invited guest, Bob Vornlocker, and also Mayor Kramer, to talk to us about Lewis Street, I guess.
Sure,
Absolutely. So, Nick, thank you for the invitation and the email requesting some update on the project. I actually gave a report to the mayor and council and the public yesterday at the council meeting. So I'm probably going to be repetitive. The mayor will probably be bored with my repetitive report.
I was last night.
But that's okay. Staff has been, so
I give the same to everyone.
he does, and I've just learned to smile. As you may remember, there were several public presentations by an architectural firm by the name of Kimmel Begret. They were the firm that also had done the vetting process for the year prior to the award. Council awarded a contract. Really over the summer, the contract was awarded to Kimmel Begret for both the architectural and engineering design and then the subsequent construction management that will take place once the building is going to be built. As is typical with government and contracts and the like, and when you get attorneys involved, it took a little bit of time for us to iron out all the details of the contract. We kicked the project off with a meeting of staff and the architects back on September 4th, and September and October was taken up by schematic design completion. And basically what we did is meeting with the architects on a couple of occasions was to go over the kind of the nuts and bolts of what we will need. Will it be fiber optic cable or will it be commercial cable? You know, all of those kind of details for them to now, and that's all complete. And now they're in the design development. Now they're in the actual architectural work, and we're also in the geotechnical engineering, which, not to get technical, but geotechnical engineering is basically all of the core samples and things to determine the stability of the soil, to build the foundations, to hold the building that they intend to build. So all of that work will begin within the next couple weeks. I had an email this morning from the architectural firm saying that they had identified a geotechnical engineering firm that they were going to have do the work. So that work is about to begin in the next couple weeks. It's anticipated that design development will probably take from now until the end of the year. And then they begin the process it'll take about 3 months, going probably till about March of 2019 for the construction documentation. All of the materials, obviously big building, 20-some thousand square feet. The architects have to develop a list of all of the different materials, literally the manufacture of fixtures, all of that. So that's the construction details that will be developed over the course of that 3 months from January to March. And then preparation of the bid specifications and advertising of bid with the hope to award a contract for construction in probably June of 2019. And then construction would follow shortly thereafter, because when you award these bids, it's only a couple of weeks after award of bid that then the contractor starts to get to work. And that's a good time of year to start to get to work, because that'll give them from June, really, into the coldest part of the fall, early winter, with weather being hopefully good, that their anticipated completion of construction would be August of 2020, giving themselves about a year for everything from, because there's a lot of site work that has to be done. The infrastructure, storm sewer, drainage, stormwater management, all of those.
The board, Agnes is on her way.
Okay.
Oh,
So the hope at this point, and we are on schedule, is that, really about just under 2 years from now, the building will be completed, furnished, and ready for occupancy. Grand opening September 2020 is where we're shooting, and that's the schedule that was more or less laid out at the last presentation that the architects gave to mayor and council back May. Does that sound about right? May, I believe it was. So that's the update. That's where we're at. So I don't have any pretty pictures to show you, because there's none yet.
Okay.
We still have the concept design hasn't changed. There's been some, we looked at it and said maybe we don't need this door here. We only need one door here. We talked about access control. We talked about storage. All of the kind of nuts and bolts that go into the design of a building to give them our input. Alice Sipowicz from Recreation has been involved in that process. And Vince Dominack, I think you all know Vince.
Yes.
Vince has basically been anointed kind of the project manager, the construction manager on behalf of the town. He's got a lot of familiarity with the construction department and all of the processes that are necessary to get a building built. If you can get a building built that's a commercial building, you can certainly get this building built, right? So I thought he was a good person to put in charge of that. And Safi Callan is also involved in this as the special projects manager, kind of from the programmatic point of view, things like that. So that's where we're at.
Anything new on additional parking?
Yeah, so, well, I can only say that we are actively pursuing a neighboring parcel, and we believe that we will be able to make an announcement about that in the
Same side of the
short-term
street or the
future.
other side of the
Other side of the street.
The ones, okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
what I'm saying.
figure it out. Go live, drive down Lewis Street.
No,
The owner of the property is in negotiations with us. The nature of the negotiations are ones that
Okay.
obviously I can't disclose, but we are actively pursuing parking off the site that would allow for more than what on-site parking would allow, given the size constraints.
It's about, what, 30 spots?
It'll be about 30 spots, yeah. So a nice sized parking lot.
will the library be one of the main facilities that will be open in the evening, or will other?
So certainly that would be up to January and this board as to how. I mean, we're looking as we make the recommendations to the architects. Our recommendations were that the library portion of the building could function on its own, so that the youth center could be closed and the library could be open, and likewise they could be open simultaneously.
together.
Absolutely. And that's just access. The library is intended to planned to be in the front of the building near the main entrance. It would share the main entrance with the main building and also with the second story, with a separate stairwell up to the second story. And those areas can be open or secure depending on the use.
Yeah, that was
So,
pretty much,
yeah.
that was
So-
pretty much even in the very
It'd be an elevator,
early,
yes.
in the very early drawings.
Right.
that was
So
already-
that's still the case.
Okay.
And the area that is the library has not changed. That concept has not changed from what you all saw when the concept was
1,100
designed.
square feet.
Exactly, exactly.
How
That's-
far is the parking lot where the strip mall is, where the drugstore is, from Lewis
Now,
Street?
Allen's a block away, so.
So if we needed parking at night,
Well, I'm hoping
That the
that
30 will
parking,
be enough?
I'm hoping that parking will be sufficient for all of the purposes that we might have for that building. There's on-street parking that's available. It is legal to park on Lewis Street. And then we also will have, you know, our goal here is to continue to pursue the off-street parking that would be sufficient to support the needs. You know, you have to remember that on most typical nights, we anticipate it being kids. So they won't be driving, so there'll be some staff cars. There might be some parents that have some interaction with different organizations, and there might be visitors to the library that are not related to the kids that are at the youth center. But certainly, you know, on a large event, we have to have off-site parking, maybe run a shuttle. You know, certainly our recreation department has 15-passenger vans. If we had to do that, we could certainly work with the middle school and Hillcrest School, which are nearby. And I don't anticipate that happening very often.
Was there ever any discussion of closing that little portion of Lewis Street and having Shevchenko service it and the other end of Lewis?
I don't know
Because Lewis
that. I mean,
Street is so
has there
very
ever been a consideration? No, I'll be honest. That's the first I've heard of that. I don't know that. So we just and I'll use an analogy that I used on another issue that the township's currently dealing with is when we do things like close roads or do regulations or whatever it might be, I tend to kind of start small, and if we determine, you know, that might be something that in the end we might say, you know what, is just not enough. We never anticipated this many cars. Could we do that? We could. Creating dead ends is generally not a good thing. Emergency services don't like dead ends. Fire departments don't like dead ends. And that's what it would do, is it would create a dead end on Lewis Street coming in from the other side, like the Franklin Boulevard end. But it's, I mean, you know, there's all of those different possibilities. I think, though, that we're looking to make accommodations for what we believe will be the demand, and I think that we'll meet the demand and probably exceed it on most nights. I don't anticipate 35 cars because there's still some parking on the site too.
I was just down on Hamilton Street yesterday, and I was blown away by all this construction.
We're doing lots of stuff down there.
Yes,
We are.
I mean, it's not that long ago that I was down there. And so are they more than one bedroom, you know, units? Or?
A few are. The marketing of those units is not for you know, husband, wife, and family. They're a lot of one bedroom and studios. There's as you get further towards the New Brunswick border down near St. Peter and Paul Church in that area, really the marketing of those owners is geared towards graduate students at Rutgers or employees of Robert Wood Johnson or St. Peter's. Big with the grad students at Rutgers, because Rutgers really doesn't provide housing for anything other than undergrad, and even they're at a serious limitation on the number of available units. They're building dormitories. So these are kind of marketing, the owners are marketing them towards that use. So that's really one bedrooms with not a lot of cars,
right.
not a lot of, and certainly not a lot of kids. So that's what we have.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, I have another meeting to go prepare for at 7 o'clock, and so I'm going to go prepare for that one.
7:15.
7:15. Yes, I stand corrected. Yes, 7:15, because the mayor has one at 7 o'clock that's supposed to last 15 minutes. That's
And then I'll be there at 7. This is my first of 3 meetings.
That's it. So, all right. So
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Certainly, give me an email if you have any other questions.
Certainly will.
All right.
And should we mark our calendars for the opening?
2020, September.
9/20/20.
That's it. 9/20/20. All right. Good night.
Good night.
I'd like to open this, open the public portion of this meeting. Is there a motion to do that?
So moved.
Second.
In favor?
All right.
Public portion is open.
I only have one question. Who just spoke? I'm not familiar.
Bob Vornlocker is our
Township manager.
township
Oh, the
manager.
municipal manager. Thank you.
And very knowledgeable.
Yes. And Mayor Kramer thinks that he is Bob's boss, but it's really the other way around.
Oh, thanks for clarification.
That's true.
We'll move on to approval of the minutes from the September 26th meeting. I believe everybody got them in their packet, and I'm sure everybody has read them twice.
Yeah.
One time is enough.
Is there any questions? Well, let's first of all, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Yeah.
A motion made and seconded in favor? Well,
Yeah.
first of all, there's a motion to approve and it's seconded. Is there any discussion of the minutes? Seeing none, I will call the question. Those in favor of accepting the minutes from the September 26th meeting?
Yeah.
Those opposed? Okay,
Abstentions.
and one
I wasn't here.
one abstention and
Abstention.
two abstentions, and I'm in favor. Who's all in favor? 3 in favor, 2 abstentions. Reason for the abstention seems to be that
Absence.
those 2
Absence.
people were not at the meeting.
Can I make a comment? That I think that the first sentence, 1,824 people attended 95 programs, is outstanding.
Thank you, Iris. The staff works very hard.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, let me just say for the record something I said before the meeting started, that I didn't identify myself as a library board member and worked with the New Jersey Sharing Network, organ donation group for North and Central Jersey, to reserve a room at the library, and the library staff, Joan Serpico, was great to work with.
Prior to the meeting, I made a similar positive comment about the same Joan. Okay. Let's move on to the director's reports. First, financial report. This again was in the packet. Does anyone have any questions about the financial reports?
I did.
Iris?
On the Franklin Township Public Library line item expenses, number 908, maintenance automation, 103% we've used already.
Yeah, it's a one-time, it's an annual
Oh,
contract. That's
okay.
the Cersei Dynex contract.
Because bounced out at me. Okay, that was it.
And it was a little bit more than I thought it was gonna be, so it's 103%.
Wow. That's pretty close. Okay. Are there any other questions? I made one observation about the utilities in the Franklin Park branch, and noticed the reason why they ran a little higher than expected, because the budget was put down this year from $8,000 to $6,000, and it was probably a fluke year last year that caused January to adjust that number in the budget. So everything is back to, I think, normal there. Go on with it.
I have no comment. Oh, you want me to go on with the,
With your-
are we done with this?
Well, I don't hear any other,
Nothing.
seeing no discussion on the financial part. January, will you go on with your the other portions of your reports?
Sure. So, this month we had 1,372 people at 84 programs here and at the branch. And our outreach staff has been very active. They were at the farmer's market, and they also went to Franklin Day, and were both places. They handed out literature, talked to people, talked about everything the library can do, and generally promoted the library. And as I mentioned before, the Franklin Town Center, which is where the branch is located, the owners are redoing the facade of the whole store thing. It's not a good word, but you know what I mean, the whole
Yes.
mall. So they are interested in maintaining it, which is a good sign.
Because they're putting a great big store in.
The Ocean Big Lots.
Yes.
Yes, Ocean Big Lots is coming in where Steinmart was.
No,
I don't,
not where Steinmart was, it's in the middle.
it's in the middle?
I
thought it
think
was
so,
where
Mayor,
Steinmart
Mr.
was.
Mayor?
Don't know.
It's in the middle.
Yeah, okay. I also wanted to note that the Manhattan Short Film Festival, this is the second year we did it, and this year we got almost twice as many people coming out for it. So everybody was very pleased about that. And that is all I have to say.
On the upcoming children's and adults programs, there are 2 turkey trot parties? Is that a typo?
No, there's 2 of them.
Okay.
There's 2 of them.
Well, thank you. As always, these reports are very informative. And, the next item on the agenda says President's Report. The only thing I would like to say at this time, perhaps some more a little later, the sidewalk in front of the building has been extensively redone, and I would like our secretary to write a letter to the proper people. Would it be Public Works, Mayor, or?
Yeah, Public Works, yep.
Okay.
Carl Hawk.
We are very thankful for having the sidewalk repaired, and letter is in order.
Agnes is here.
All right.
Ah.
Oh,
She came.
Oh,
Is she at the,
It's locked.
Oh.
it's locked?
Yeah, the door is locked. You cannot get through.
Oh,
because if I don't turn the key correctly, it
Yeah.
locks.
Hello, Agnes.
Hi, Agnes.
how are you?
Sorry to be late.
It's okay.
I'm only thanking him for the sidewalk by the library. I can't thank him for the other
You
sidewalk.
can thank him for whatever you wish.
Your choice.
Okay. Agnes, to catch up, we've gone through reports, approval of minutes. We've had a report on the Lewis Street project from Hornlocker, was here and has left. And we're up to the point of correspondence and communication. Does anybody have any correspondence?
Well, I'll just note that this month's article was the NEA report
Very interesting.
that found
Small
small
dip.
dip in reading, although poetry has risen.
Nice.
And if you read the article, it says that's largely due to Instagram posts. Poets, I should say, Instagram poets. Very interesting.
I'm not on I don't
Neither.
use Instagram, so I'm not really
But
familiar.
it's not a surprising article, because I think with the coming of all the technology and what you can read, there's so much to read online that people are reading less books. Not surprised at the findings.
Also, a lot of novels are very depressing.
The news is too.
You pass these around.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is there any other correspondence?
Yet.
Either way? No? Okay. Moving on to old business. At last month's meeting, I suggested that we clean up our inventory of minutes from past executive sessions. The open public meeting, or the public access laws say that when something we've discussed in executive session ceases to be sensitive, we must make it available to the public if any member of the public requests it. I've looked over meetings we had in 2017 and 2018. They're listed on this little sheet that I just passed around. I also sent it out in email. And I'd like to entertain a motion to make these available to the public.
So I move that we declassify
Ooh.
the executive session minutes of February, March, April, May, June, August, September, and October of 2017, and February, March, and August of 2008.
18.
Yeah, I'm not gonna,
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
I'll second.
Do we do that by, it's not televised, so do we do it written?
No, what happens is if somebody requests some of these minutes,
They give
It's
it to them.
they can get them.
Okay, it's
We don't have to take any action,
to do it.
Nothing
Okay.
to do.
we don't have to publish them, but
Okay.
we can't refuse public access to them. And there's really not a lot here other than, should we buy a piece of land or shouldn't we? How much should we pay for it? So,
Is it wetland or not?
any other old business? Oh,
You can run it all in
we-
favor.
You've got
we have to vote on this motion, I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Yes.
I didn't
Second.
catch a second. John Clyde has seconded. Is there any discussion on any of the dates? Seeing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Majority.
It has passed unanimously. Is there any other old business? Is there any new business?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
It's that time of year to
Holiday.
do the proposed holiday closings for the next year. And I gave you a handout, it's blue, and it shows the closings for this year, 2018, and compared to the closings for 2019, and it's identical.
Yep.
No changes.
No changes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Made and second, John and Iris
Iris,
made and seconded.
Yeah.
Any discussion? Those in favor of approving the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? I saw five,
Yeah, she didn't tell you. Agnes.
No, I said
Agnes?
none.
Yeah.
pardon?
I wasn't here, so do I have to abstain?
This is not
No.
for here.
No,
No,
this is,
So
This
I
is for
said-
the year, the
You
whole
said
year.
any abstentions, I said no. None.
no
Oh.
abstentions.
None.
She wasn't abstaining.
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
was not that. No, I wasn't that.
Agnes, have you voted or?
She's not abstaining, so you're
You
voting
approve,
yes?
right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
Okay, this has passed
He's
unanimously.
not with us.
This is like Phillips.
Oh, the controversy.
We need coffee.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I wasn't
sorry.
sure whether you
I'm
had a
sorry.
question about one of the dates or more.
Oh, God.
Is there any other new business? Seeing none, I would like to entertain a motion to go into executive session to talk about possible use of future branches that we don't have now.
I would make that motion.
Second.
Second.
Agnes, second.
Okay, any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
No.
Aye. Opposed? We will be in executive session for,
A couple of minutes.
I don't know how long.
You have the camera going?
Camera.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I was trying to watch the.
We are back in the public portion of the meeting. Let's see,
No, we'll let our friend.
she's coming.
Oh, it's probably locked.
What's her name? I keep Ann?
Ann.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor? Aye. Unanimously, we came out of executive session. And we will again open the public portion of the meeting.
Angela, Franklin Township, will the executive sessions meeting minutes be available online or?
Oh, the ones they,
Can we just-
yes, they will be. It'll take a while, but yes, they will be.
Okay, they'll be online, thank you.
Is that, you're going to put them online or just make
I'm
them
gonna put it on-
available by request?
I'm gonna put them on our website, like the other minutes, with the
Okay,
other minutes.
okay.
And I'll put them at the reference desk.
Oh, they'll be at the reference desk?
Yeah.
In a week or so, or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, either way, I'll get them, thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Ann? Okay. And confirmation of our next meeting date is November 14th. And I'd also like to add here that we plan to change our December meeting from, and make it December 12th at 5:30. And proper notice will be given for that. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Those in favor? Aye. Well,
I think we're kind of stuck.
yeah, now I got the mayor mad at me.
That's, you get a good idea.
That's what I'm thinking. And you know what? I think there's a lot of building around there. I can't even